So today we're going to talk about team success and the 5 important factors. You've all been part of a team while growing up and certainly when joining this firm. You're on a practice team, maybe an industry or client team, the management team, or even a small subset of any of these teams.
When considering your contributions to the team or teams in which you participate, how do you know that you're moving toward a common goal? How do you handle conflict? And do you all just agree with one another because it's the easiest course of action?
Today we're going to talk about the leadership within teams, and this just isn't the appointed head of the groups. It's up to each team member of the team to lead so that together you can achieve your goals.
We know that any time that 2 or more people work together, that there will be opportunities and challenges. We will discuss the factors that will make your team most successful, including how to be most effective when working with others and how to make a decision as a team without getting on the road to Abilene.
Here are the 5 factors for creating and sustaining successful teams. First, you need strong leadership. Next, clearly defined goals. Then you need communication, right sizing, and finally, participation.
Let's start with strong leadership. Before the team is formed, or even when you're trying to realign your team, a leader needs to define the team's purpose and mission, establish goals, determine the type of teamwork that will take place, which include the level of interdependence of the team members, along with the roles and responsibilities, the operating procedures and norms, selecting and training the team members, establishing a reward structure, and probably most importantly, securing management support.
Next, we're going to look at Tuckman's stages of team development. Bruce Tuckman was a renowned psychologist, and he defined these stages for working in small groups back in 1965, and this format's still used today. First, the team starts with the forming stage. Now, this is when the team has uncertainty about the task, they begin to learn a little bit about each other, and they start testing the waters to determine acceptable team behaviors. Next stage is storming, and this is the phase that a lot of teams get stuck in. This includes intra-team conflict and members resisting constraints imposed on them by other team members. The other thing with this phase is conflict related to who's in control. That's always a difficult thing for teams to handle. The next phase is norming, and norming is when the close relationships develop and strong sense of team camaraderie and cohesion exists. This phase includes structures and processes that settle into a pattern. And this is, if it's a dysfunctional team, you may end up skipping this step. The last phase is performing, and this is when the structure is fully functional and adaptable and group energy is formed into getting the team behind one common goal. And finally, after that is in place, you come to adjourning, which is learning from the experience and looking back and seeing what you can glean.
Next, we'll move on to clearly defining your goals. Certainly, you never mistake activity for achievement, which is why setting your goals and revisiting those on a regular basis is important.
So now we're going to talk about the goals. Does anyone have a clearly defined goal? You need to make sure that everyone's rowing in the same direction. Next, is the task motivating? If not, you're going to lose some team energy. So the next thing we want to do is talk about a team charter. And this is important to get everyone on the same page. It's helpful to create this even if you've been working together a while. First, we're going to start with a purpose, which is clarifying team goals and how team members will work together to achieve those goals. Next, we're going to look at sample content. Is there project purpose goals, key milestones, roles and responsibilities, team norms defined, team procedures, and various member information. Then we're going to look at the process. We need to develop collaboratively with the team, maybe doing a team launch meeting or having regular scheduled meetings. You need to have all the team members approve and sign the charter. This is very important so everybody has that accountability. And you also need to know that this is a living document. It needs to change as the team changes. These are all crucial parts of team development, and it helps if the team members understand the vision, identify the team norms, processes, etc. and holds the team accountable for the plan.
So once you've got your goals in place, you need to work on your inter-team communication. So according to MIT's Human Dynamics Laboratory, they found that patterns of communication were the most important predictor of a team's success. Their data also revealed that successful teams share several defining characteristics. One, everyone on the team talks and listens in roughly equal measure, keeping contributions short and sweet. Two, members face one another, and their conversations and gestures are energetic. Three, the members connect directly with one another, not just with the team leader. Four, members carry on back channel or side conversations that are productive within the team. And they periodically break and go outside of the team and bring information back.
Some other factors that we need to look at when building these teams, first, it's checking. How's the team doing against the goal? Is corrective action needed? What factors, either external or internal to the team, might affect the performance? Next, look at cooperating. Are the team members willing to help each other and provide backup when it's needed to achieve the team goals? Then look at coordinating. Are team members coordinating their actions in order to accomplish the task most efficiently? Finally, conversing. Are team members sharing information and keeping each other informed about issues that might affect the team performance?
Next, we'll move on to right sizing. When looking at your team composition, it's best to consider these three questions. How many people should be on your team? What characteristics would most benefit the team? And what level of diversity is optimal within the team?
So as we look at team design, how are you going to create your team? According to the research out there on team dynamics, the ideal teams are between 6 to 8 members. Having too small of a team might put the team burden on each of the team members, and having too large of a team makes it difficult to determine consensus and also to manage workflow.
We all know that if the wrong people are at the table, it is difficult for a team to be effective. So it's important to think about the team members' individual technical expertise, their teamwork skills and abilities, which include interpersonal skills like conflict resolution, collaborative problem solving, their ease of communication with one another. Also, their level of performing tasks. Are they planners? Can they coordinate tasks? Do they set goals? And how is their performance management? Also consider emotional intelligence of each of the team members. And finally, the personality and preferences of each of the team members. You certainly want to look for ones who are more stable, have more stable characteristics and dispositions.
Next, we're going to look at team diversity. Diversity is crucial as it brings different perspectives, talents, and skills to bear on team projects. When right-sizing your team, think about the following: age, ethnicity, gender, practice area expertise. And you also want to think about administrative perspective. This is really important for the people that working in a law firm, because the administrative staff can add a great amount of value to the team dynamic.
Now that you have your team in place, you need to think about the participation of each of the team members.
So we want to start off by looking at conflict resolution. In this chart, you'll see assertiveness along the x-axis and cooperativeness along the y-axis. Cooperativeness is the concern for the goals of others, and assertiveness is the concern for your own goals. Now, there's lots of surveys and charts out there that you can find to see where you fit, but everybody kind of resides in one of these areas. How these relate determine the way the conflicts are managed on your team. Are you more or less cooperative? Are you more or less assertive? The thing that you need to think about here is that even though you reside in one of these areas, you're going to need to flex different styles to work effectively with your team. So some common information sharing problems in groups include selective information sharing. This is the tendency to strategically share information that supports our preferences. Confirmation bias. This is a form of selective perception that occurs when we selectively notice or focus on evidence which tend to support the things that we already believe or want to be true while ignoring the evidence we should serve on to negate those beliefs or ideas. And then finally, group process shapes our group decisions. Polling types of processes are more likely to reinforce the initial preferences of the team.
So when these problems exist, it can lead to groupthink, which is a mode of thinking that people engage in when they are deeply involved in a group, when the members striving for unanimity override their motivation to realistically appraise alternative courses of action. This kind of thinking can lead you to the road to Abilene. Some symptoms that you'll notice are you overestimate the group, so you have an illusion of vulnerability or belief in the inherent morality of the group. Closed-mindedness, which is a rationalization of the group's opinion, discounting conflicting ideas from inside or even outside of the group. And finally, a pressure toward conformity, where you have self-censorship or direct pressure to members who disagree with what the group's thinking is, and also protecting the group from alternative views.
Next, we're going to look at strategies for effective group decision making. We want to avoid that groupthink. First, we want to promote healthy task conflict. This includes building a culture of healthy dissent. We want to open the climate for discussion. It's okay to disagree. Then we want to promote a balanced participation in group discussion. Participation from all group members is crucial. We want to take a page from the U.S. Supreme Court. No one speaks twice until everyone speaks once. And then let's introduce a planned conflict. You want to assign team members the role of critical evaluator or devil's advocate, and you also want to bring in outside experts during this stage for fresh perspectives. So just to reiterate, today we've walked through all 5 stages of creating and sustaining successful teams: leadership, goals, communication, right sizing, and participation. Keep those in mind during the next team project you work on.
And finally, we've come up with a few resources for you to review if you'd like more information on the topic. As mentioned during the webinar, the Abilene paradox is the management of agreement. It's an interesting concept that I suggest you go and read about. Also, there's a new book out by Rich Karlgaard and Michael Malone called Team Genius, where they research a variety of industries and discuss how to create the best internal teams. And also, we've got links to 2 TED Talks. One is Building a Tower, Build a Team. The other, The Surprising Science of Motivation, which talks about how to motivate your team members.
Thank you for your time today. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to your marketing and business development team.